Jim. He's dead.
Hello, and welcome to Improv Autopsy. I'm your host, Stephen Cadwell. This is part 2 of my interview with the incomparable SAC legend, Megan Whyte Soule. If you'd like to be interviewed or know someone else who should be, drop me a line at improvbrain@gmail.com. Check out the Patreon for bonus content, including Phone Prov with Charles Fryerman, where Charles and I do our best to do some audio improv and delight ourselves, if no one else. So far, we've done Charles Fryerman's Dream Cycle, a form Charles dubbed Board Meeting, and a phone call La Ronde. All of those are available on Patreon, even at the free tier. Enough of that. Here's what you came for. Enjoy part 2 of Megan Whyte Soule's Improv Autopsy. I wanted to ask you about Comedy Warehouse.
Yeah.
So when I was coming through the ranks at SAC in the student programs and then eventually as a neophyte in the ensemble, there weren't many Comedy Warehouse people that were also doing SAC. There were some, but it seemed to be almost a one or the other than a couple people. So what was you had to audition for Comedy Warehouse. So if you were going to compare and contrast, were you doing that simultaneously with SAC, or was that when you were in Comedy Sports? When did Comedy Warehouse gig come along?
I was doing something called Streetmosphere at MGM, Disney MGM. I don't know what they call it anymore, studios. And I guess it was sort of like a farm team in some ways for who would, I'm going to put this in quotation marks, everyone, who would move up to the Comedy Warehouse, because it was sort of treated as a premium spot, whatever. So they had me there for about, I don't even think it was a year, or maybe it was only a few months. And you're going to start subbing at the Comedy Warehouse, and let's see how you do. And I was playing SAC at the time, and then doing Streetmo, and now sometimes I would be at the Comedy Warehouse. And then at some point, and I cannot even tell you why, I went to Comedy Warehouse full time. And it's not the same. And then I went back to SAC and loved it. So my time there, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of, kind of like you were saying, a different type of improviser, a different type of improv, but it wasn't as enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
Everyone was very slick and a little regimented and don't do this. And the connections were different. I just felt a little like a misfit. No one was evil or mean or any of those things, but I couldn't quite find my spot in there. But as far as improv goes, it really taught me how to get it quick. You had 30 seconds and you have to sing the verse with everyone. Yeah, I mean, it was very fast and very slick and very structured and short. And SAC had started doing much longer, breathable scenes. And now here I was going back into the very short, like moving bodies in 2 minutes. That kind of a thing. And here I am trying to find the story. You know, I was a little arty for them, I think, sometimes. Yeah. And they were just like, hit the high note, let's go.
Yeah.
I was a sub at the Comedy Warehouse. When they made me full-time, I had to leave SAC. I had a great time. I learned a lot, but I loved it going back to SAC more.
Yeah.
Right? SAC had the family feel. It was a little bit more like what you're talking about with Chicago and I was talking about with LA. It felt a little bit more like people there had an agenda or a reputation to uphold. It felt a little bit. And so I just couldn't relax there. So, and it was 5 shows a night. They're short shows, but that'll wear you down.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a lot of variety of what you could do. There wasn't freedom. It was very regimented. Because, of course, it's a corporation. It's a theme park. And, yeah, but at SAC, I'd be like, I don't feel like doing that tonight. Oh, let's do that one we haven't done in 20 years that we forgot, you know. Out. So I miss that freedom.
Yeah, it's the business of it. Mm-hmm. And SAC is really just, pure play in so many more ways, but because it had to be, Comedy Warehouse was this other thing, you know.
That's right. We were a shiny package.
Yeah.
I think about like the Mickey Mouse waffle or whatever. It's like, here's something special that's reliable that you can count on to be the same. And it was very much the same. So you got very, very good at one thing. It was the same kind of thing every night, but you got really good at it.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel as much like improv. It felt a little performative, but I got to say, it was still fun. I had a great time.
Yeah.
But I just really didn't know how good I had it at SAC with all the freedom and the playfulness and the familial that like just we're all in this together. Also, They drink alcohol at the Comedy Warehouse. And so you do get a different vibe from the audience
Yeah.
because at that time there was no alcohol at SAC. So people would say things. I remember I had this blonde curly hair and I was setting up a blues song and I'm like, what's something that gives you the blues? Something embarrassing or whatever. Your hair. And I was like, okay, we're going to do a song about my hair. I was just mortified and I just wanted to go home after that because I'm such a sensitive creature. And I should have asked for the lights to come up because then I could see it was probably a bald dude, could have done something. I'm
Yes.
like, come on. Ah. So, yes, SAC was a lot more fun. And the audiences were never mean at SAC, ever. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Never a mean audience.
Yeah.
We had a couple drunk audiences, but that's where I learned my trick of like, oh, you guys, he needs attention. Everyone look at him and go, aw. And they did it, and he was like the life of the party the rest of the time. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to keep that in my pocket because we never had hecklers really.
Yeah. That is amazing. It is definitely different in improv than stand up in terms of dealing with anyone that would be heckling, borderline heckling.
Hmm. I think it doesn't happen as much in improv, but
Yeah, I think you're right.
it only takes that one. I'm going to stereotype. It's usually a surly dude that can bring it down, though. You gotta be careful. Oh, I do remember a girl really making James Newport mad.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh. And I think he wound up spitting water on her, or did she spit water on him? There was some kind of spit take exchange. And then I believe he pretended to drag her out by her hair. I can't even remember the details. I just remember all of us on stage were like, he's kidding, right? Is he kidding? He looks really mad. But she was quiet after that. She was really out of hand. I think she was very drunk, and I can't remember the details. I just remember that. I'll have to ask Ryan or someone who was there because that was a moment when James snaps, you know, something's up, you know?
Yeah, he was always like so laid back in my memory of
Yeah, oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
stage. Just
Loose, right? Very loose.
yeah, yeah,
The other fun thing to do is to just always pull them up on stage because you know that's what they ultimately want is the attention. Then you bring them up on stage and they are immediately emasculated. Just and I'm saying male or female. I'm saying the feeling of just like, oh. Once you get there on the bright lights with nothing to do and all the other improvisers staring at you, hecklers tend to settle down a lot. They embarrass themselves and then we don't have to do it, you know. I like to keep my hands clean.
yep, yep. What was the most shocking thing you ever saw on stage, if anything comes to mind, other than James Newport getting upset?
I mean, I guess this is the most shocking. We had a lot of youth groups because we were clean, we didn't swear, we weren't inappropriate. Lots of church groups would bring their entire teen group or whatever to our shows. And we loved that because that's like, here are 100 tickets, you know.
Yeah.
So we had all the time and word of mouth. So they just kept coming. Well, one time we had someone coming to see if we were appropriate, the priest or reverend, I don't know what it was, but we were warned. I think Jill came back there and she was our salesperson. She said, hey, just so you know, there's a guy who wants to do a big event, youth group. So just please keep the show clean. And we were all like, what?
Oh
It's
no.
always clean. Like, what are you talking about? So we often would warm up the show with, what are you doing? And you go back and forth. I ask you what you're doing. You're doing some kind of motion and you make up something different than what you're actually doing. And we're doing it in about the third exchange. Clark Canine, they say, what are you doing? And he says, fucking the Pope. And everyone, fucking the Pope. That's the only F bomb I've ever heard on the sax stage ever. And of all the things, the Pope. And we all looked at him like, what is, well, I thought aneurysm. I couldn't figure out what would have done that. And he was like, I don't know. And the guy got up and walked right out. You know, we all just watched him leave. And it was about 2 minutes into the show. So, yeah, that was a bummer. I always felt like we should have made him pay our salary that week because he was not like that. No one was like that. But fuck the Pope. That shocked me. I mean, it used to be not shocking, but shocking to the audience and a sign of the times in which we lived that any scene that wasn't really ending or wasn't going well, that we used to have a well, like a wall that made a small circle. It literally was like a little well. You could come up from behind the stage and pop up out of this well, and it would come up to your waist. So, like, if you wanted to be a bartender, that's a cute thing to do. Go backstage, go crawl under the wall, and pop up in the well. But if things weren't going well, some boys would pop up into the well, take off their shirts, and kiss each other. Wild applause and screaming, blackout. And it was used to death. So we used to actually have a thing saying kiss the scene, which meant somebody's got two boys have to kiss. Like kiss the scene. Like we got to end it. We got to something. This is dying. And then I do remember one time that two girls, we tried it and the audience was horrified. We didn't take off our shirts, let me be clear. But yeah, we just did like and it was a real fake make outy kiss, just like the boys do a real fake make out. And I mean, it was like, it was horrible. It was like being slut shamed. It was just
Yeah.
terrible. Silence. Yeah. Oh, we got some of those. I'm like, okay. And then I'm waving my blackout arm as much as
Yeah.
possible. Like, let's end the scene. Yeah.
Tech is just back there with their mouth agape.
I think it was John Valinas, and he was like, "What? I could not believe that."
Kind of touching on that, what has been your experience of sexism in improv?
Yeah, I mean, it's there. The weird thing is when you're in it, sometimes you don't even recognize it as sexism. And I'm not big on saying, like, it's so hard because boys are like not getting me and they're mean. Like, I don't like that vibe of it, but I will say I had to change myself a little bit to get on stage even. I started swearing like a sailor, which now is very natural for me, but I had to be able to say if they were talking about something with grossly sexual or like boys will be boys situation, I had to be there and be able to top it. I had to be one of the guys. That's a girl that can hang. There was a lot of that. And these are nice boys. I was working with the nicest men, but there was still that they needed to feel safe with me. And so that's one of the ways you had to manifest that was to be like, whatever, man, say whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to get offended. So there was that.
Why do you think that is? Is it because that in some ways neuters you and you become one of the boys and there's no longer sexual tension? Or is it something else?
I will say something else because there was definitely sexual tension all the time. But I think it was more that women did not know how to improvise. We don't learn that to improvise the same way. I mean, our brains don't operate the same way. And so women would come in not wanting to mess up the scene. I don't want to mess you up. I'm here to help. But the way that manifests on stage is, what are you guys doing? Right? A scene killer or being too gentle or not committing enough or being afraid of looking dumb or not pretty. All of those things I feel like make the men in the scene go, oh God, it's like they got to take care of us. They feel the need to either take care of us or get us out. So you kind of either got iced from the scene, sort of. They would sort of steamroll you in a way to take care of you. I think that lots of times they were being nice, but that's the way it came out to them. I'll help you by telling you what to do and where to stand and ignoring the things that don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Two guys. They were from Calgary, the Canadian boys that were real sexy. All the girls were like, oh my God, they're so cute. And I was with them in my first tournament. I was put on their team and they hated that we got so many suggestions because back then we'd get like 3 suggestions for a short form scene. And he's like, why? Just don't get any suggestions. And I was like, oh, that's just how we do it. And I said, of course, this is my first tournament. And they were like, what? And then the show started and they killed me in every single scene. I would enter, they would kill me. I would enter, they would kill me. And then luckily I became a ghost and that was the only way I got to be in a scene with them. But that was the one where I really was like, that is sexist. I don't like that. But they were the young cocky boys and
Yeah.
we're funny, you guys aren't, and that kind of thing. But I was with a wonderful group of men that were so supportive, but we didn't know how to support each other. So the easiest way for me was to become very male, not act like a man, but in that black and white kind of way of thinking about things. But it's really the female, I saw this thing where females think in a web, right? Their brain, if you map their thoughts, it shoots out like a web, and men tend to go in one step at a time really
Yeah.
quickly. So I think the web is what makes someone a really great improviser. And I think lots of men are able to think that way, but the traditional male doesn't, or they're taught to not to. It's like this or that. And women had a hard time making a committed choice. They didn't know what it looked like. You're not required to do it in society as a woman. Men have to learn to be committed and be fearless as a requirement. Women don't. And so that on stage somehow was not melding. That's kind of how it felt. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's how it felt. And also, you just be ready to be the girlfriend, be the wife, because I was the only girl. So I gave birth 400 times. I watched Morgan Russell drop out of Matt Young's crotch one time. And I think she was trying to show, like, this is what it's like when you guys do that to us. We're in the middle of a scene making offers, and you drop out from behind it, come between our legs and go, meh, meh. And now suddenly I have to deal with the baby. Like, that happened to us all the time. And I think she was doing something like that. And Matt Young was just like, I pooped a baby. And it became a wonderful, memorable scene. But I can't remember if that's the reason she did it or if I'm just putting that in now thinking about it. But that's why Claire Sarah taught a class that she hated naming Femprov, but they somehow took the name Femprov. But that class really helped me understand that they're not being jerks. They just don't know how to improvise with you. And that commitment is going to make everything feel safe. And so I learned to overcommit, and that made me a much better improviser.
Did you also lead that class?
I did. And I had a great time. I would bring in the male heavy hitters, the top of the line. We want you guys to do an improv scene for us. It's our last class, blah, blah. And then I trained the girls, like, you're going to look at me and nod and kind of every now and then as though you notice something. So we do that. The guys do the scene, and we're like, oh, mm-hmm. And then every now and then I'd be like, did you see that? And they'd nod, And then at the end, they were like, that was terrifying. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like for us. We're so worried about being judged all the time. And I think that's a female thing, not at least culturally speaking right now. You feel judged all the time. And it's hard to make good choices when you're freaked out. And what if I'm not funny? What if I'm not pretty? What if I'm?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, I get that. But they loved it after the fact. But they were like, yeah, that was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like, I think we're uncomfortable a lot on stage when there aren't very many women in comedy. But that shifted for real. I mean, you look at all the women now that are powerhouses. They just weren't there in 1990,
Yeah. You never felt pigeonholed as mother, grandmother, sister, wife?
I felt pigeonholed, but it didn't bother me that much because, okay, I can be your wife, no problem, but you don't know what kind of wife I'm going to be. I can be any kind of wife I want. So that was the great thing about improv is that I can take the role, I can yes it, and my and can go any direction that I want it to go. Sometimes it was a bummer because I would have this idea of like, I'm going to be this old mechanic named Joe. Like, I'm so male. This is me being a dude, and I'd walk on and I was clearly a dude in my mind anyway. And I'm talking like a dude and I'm walking like a dude and I got tools and I'm being and then they come in and they make me a woman immediately. Fine, I will be that person as a woman, but if a man walks on and tosses his hair, does a mime hair toss, everyone makes him a woman in the scene, right? He said, I'm a woman in this scene, deal with it. And we do. But I came on like, hey, Frank, give me that, no, whatever, some tool, right? I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. The pistons, whatever I'm talking about. But I would be and smoking a cigar and the whole thing. And then she comes up to me and she says, what's some nerve out of that broad's mouth? And then they make me a woman. It was like, okay. I don't know what kind of woman you think I am, but I'm sticking with her. But you're not really pigeonholed in improv because what a fun woman character that is, right?
Yeah.
By making me a woman, they gave me 1,000 ideas. So, no, I never felt pigeonholed. I did notice the pattern,
Yeah.
but the rest is up to me. So, if I'm going to go crying about it, that's on me.
Do you think that when you popped up in the well with whomever you were with
Yeah.
and you kissed, would it have gotten a better reaction if immediately afterwards you said, well, let's go fuck the Pope?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question. I don't know that they would have been able to handle that from us at that point. So mortified by us with that role. Like, what? What? And then we say, fuck the Pope? I don't know.
It just seems like that wasn't anything coming from your fellow players, but that's also and I think that's still true today, that two guys kiss on stage, it's funny, two women kiss on stage, and it's something else.
Yeah. They get very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's like, well, how is it different? It's the same, but it's just for whatever reason.
It's one of those deep sexual fear thing. There's some kind of they have a fear around it somehow. Everyone, the men and the women in the audience, everybody, it's some cultural moray that they're not sure they're allowed to laugh at that or something.
Yeah.
Unless we make a dirty joke about it. I'm sure no one remembers it. That's the other thing,
Yeah.
They'll remember Matt LaRue shirtless 5,000 times, but they won't.
It's just law of averages.
He was our pretty boy. We're like, go ahead, do it.
Well, if you would have taken your shirt off, that would have been memorable as well, I'm sure.
Well, I might have gotten a lot of laughs, Stephen. Although I do remember I like to wear V-neck shirts. It's better for the shape of my face. But I guess I didn't realize how low sometimes the V would go. And then you suddenly find yourself crawling on your hands and knees. And someone once told me, like, yeah, you show a lot. I'm like, what? A lot of cleavage. And then I was mortified and I felt like I was wearing turtlenecks for the next 3 months. It was just awful. It's embarrassing.
As if someone had come back in the green room and said, can you be clean this show? What?
Megan. But show a little something, Megan. He is a man after all.
Megan, he's leaving. Can you go talk to him?
Boost him up. Boost him up.
All right, let's switch gears and we'll do my fake inside the actor studio questions.
Okay, I know the deal.
Yeah. All right, so Megan, how do you get into the proper headspace to play?
I don't think. We have so much fun doing bits backstage that I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm going to have to do a show. When everybody's waiting, they used to play Whip It, and then we would all run on stage. So as the music's playing, that's when the anxiety comes because now there's no bits to like cover up the fear. And then I just would think about I love Tootsie Rolls, and we'd throw Tootsie Rolls out into the audience. And I would just picture myself like, you're eating Tootsie Rolls and someone's going to say, oh, I'm glad she's here tonight. Because one time I did hear that. I ran on stage and I'm always nervous that they're going to hate me. And that's my default setting. Everyone's going to hate me. So I ran on and she's like, oh my God, she's here. I'm so glad she's here. Right. And so I use that in the future to like chill. Because for me, the right headspace is stop being scared because that locks my brain. Right. So it was like someone's going to say, you're going to be chewing on a Tootsie Roll and someone's going to say, I'm glad she's here. And that would fill up the like 45 seconds that I had to wait. And then once I get in the light, I'm okay. Unless your opening scene sucks, Stephen. How do you deal with that? Oh, then the rest of the night is heavy lifting.
Then you just leave Chicago and you never go back.
Oh my God. No, I can't go back. They'll remember. They'll point and laugh.
It was weird because, you walk through I.O. when you're at I.O. and they have all the pictures of the famous people that have come from I.O. in the stairwell and along the wall. And then there's that little section where it's like, these people can no longer play here. And I think I saw your photo over there.
It's a good shot of me, though. I'm very proud of my hair in that one.
It was blonde and curly, but it looked great.
That's it.
What is your favorite get for?
Where would you like to see this finger? But I was challenged to do that by Bill Larkin, a fantastic musical improviser. But the one that I like to use for practicality's sake would just be, I always tried to make it in the past, like what's something you haven't thought about in a long time, something you haven't used in a long time, what's something you bought and never used, things that make them think a little bit, I want to say backward. I don't know, but here's my rule. I never ask for favorite anything. Favorite immediately puts them into a zombie-like state while they try to figure out, well, I don't know, are the Beatles my favorite or the Rolling Stones or
Yeah.
so that was my main rule. I did have success with like, give me a word. That one worked well. Give me a word because we could not stop getting people to say chia pet and jello and all the, and I just like, guys, like it's our show. You have it's you're in it too. You're making us do the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So I tried to get away from asking about things in any kind of particular specific way, like what's a room in the house? Bathroom. I just tried to make them a little bit of a two-step equation so that they could be removed from their immediate answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, and when I did say, where would you like to see this finger? As I recall, Bill Larkin was cackling with laughter, just so happy, but the audience was frozen and had no idea. And there I was with my finger in the air, and it was embarrassing.
And then Clark said something about the Pope, and some guy walked out, and it was
I'm
just all
telling
downhill.
you, we were all on fire all the time.
So, what then is your favorite way to burn a suggestion that doesn't inspire you?
I mean, we all used to do the standard of, for example, if I said, what's something you're hoping to get for Christmas? Chia pet is what someone says. And I'll say, right, yeah, like that, like chia pet. What's something
Yes.
but different? We would usually say like chia pet, but different. I think that was our go-to. We got really good at hearing things from the audience that might not have been exactly what they said.
Yes.
So we did some of that too. We weren't cheating. Also, I think James Newport used to call on that person. So they'd be like, Chia Pet. And he'd be like, okay, Chia Pet, what's your blah, 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 blah? And make them come up with the second thing. And then usually they could not come up with the second thing. That was all they had. And someone else would yell something out. But we almost never took the first suggestion if it was passe.
Yeah.
We would just wait for the shouting.
Is there a least favorite suggestion?
It's your favorite room in the house. I don't like being limited like that. Not that the scene has to take place there, but I feel like you're saying, okay, kitchen, bathroom, maybe basement, attic, bedroom. I mean, what's going to come up from people? I just feel like it doesn't generate the most creative responses for me. Those don't inspire me. Your favorite room in the house. Blech. Great. We're going to do a scene about a hall, everyone. I don't, that's like, bleh.
You would hate improvised Clue.
I would. Although, billiard room, I could do a lot with that.
Yeah.
But who's going to say billiard room? No one. Unless you'd say a clue.
Well, I wonder if you framed it, what's a room that you don't have in your house?
There you go.
Because then, I mean, obviously they have a bathroom, so they can't yell bathroom anymore.
Right, but they could say sauna or,
Yeah.
Any home theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. I'll use it next show.
Yeah. In terms of what people shout out, though, would Chia Pet be the thing that you hated hearing the most?
Chia Pet and Jello. It was, I mean, it was of its time, I guess. I don't know. Improv was still new to most people. And for some reason, that's where brains go when they're first seeing improv, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't like it. That and bathroom, yeah.
Maybe it has to do with commercials we were seeing, too, at the time.
Yeah.
I will never forget, there was a crime endowment, and maybe it was a Gen S show, and a friend of mine, Tony Rechtenwald, was the one that was coming in to confess.
Yeah.
They got down to the last thing, and they were giving clues, and they were still rather obtuse, or they were still fairly far afield, and I don't remember any of those, but I'll never forget what he said. He says, "Well, I don't know what you're doing, but it must be a shake weight," and it was. And the audience erupted, and
oh my god,
yeah, it was amazing, and it was so just
emblematic
of the fact that we get shake weight every performance right now.
Wow, I did not get shake weight, but I that's so it just keeps happening cycle after cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the improviser, like, here's my killer response, the things that are going to hit hard every time. And it was the Spice Girls were super hot, so we would just have to be like, "Do you want I want?" and act like the Spice Girls, or the Matrix, we would all do the bend
Yeah,
backward,
yeah,
And I mean, that was getting to be better than two boys kissing on stage. It was like, just do the Matrix and we'll black it out,
yeah.
Those little go-tos.
Your tech can hit the Matrix music, and then you're
Oh
supported that way too.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
What do you look for in an audience volunteer?
I look for eager but not too eager, smiley. If it's a dude, someone I would date. And if it's a girl, someone that I could hang with without feeling like she would talk behind my back. It's a vibe check for me for sure.
Yeah,
And even sometimes people who are really eager, I have called on, if you just get that, this is a playful person who likes to have fun more than this person wants to be famous right now. I
yeah,
mean, it's a very subtle, and I mean, you learn about through your mistakes for sure.
yeah.
But the loudest one in the room, pretty much never. It's weird that you can get the personality type in a moment looking at like whether or not they would play.
Yeah,
I do remember though that whenever this was our like SAC standard, which might be every improv play standard, I don't know. But when people are like, pick her, pick her, pick her, you pick the dude that's saying pick her.
yeah,
And that always works great. Usually the person that's being told to go up is not going to be a winner for you.
yeah, yeah.
They just are so mortified.
Were you doing audience arms expert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. We didn't do that all the time. We only did it a little bit because it was often disappointing for us. How about you?
Dinger would do that all the time. And I think part of it was because he was single at the time and he could pick a cute girl to stand behind him. But
Wow.
I love you, Dinger. I do remember one or two, though, where they were just like dead fish.
That's yeah,
But Dinger made comedy gold out of the fact that the person,
you
had
can.
just thrust their hands and were just dangling in front of him.
You
He
can.
was able to. I could never do that if I were in that position.
I guess the worst is middle of the road where they kind of sort of do things. I mean, if you totally have a dead-handed person, that could be really funny because no matter what you say.
Yeah, or how excited you get or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I can totally see Dinger rocking that,
Yeah, he did.
crushing that.
Yes.
But it was usually just they kind of get one movement, like they're going to point their finger, and then they don't stop. They just keep pointing there, and you make a joke about it, and then you make a joke about the fact that they're still doing it. But then by the third iteration, it's like, all right, man, like, can we black this thing
Yeah.
out?
Megan, describe your onstage persona. Is onstage Megan different than offstage Megan?
On stage, Megan is a lot more confident and a lot more playful and gives a lot fewer shits about what you think about her than offstage Megan can also be that way, but she's more prone to forgetting to be in the moment, be playful, and not care what people think about her, right?
Yeah.
It's great because you have to do it for survival on stage. And then you have the time of your life. And then if I'm off stage and I'm not feeling that way, I am not having the time of my life. So I often have to remind myself. I used to sometimes think, okay, there's a camera right to your right. And if I felt like the camera was on me, it would make me not care so much. Weirdly, I don't know how to explain it. But I would feel like, okay, I'm a human in this world that's worthy of being filmed.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So long as the camera's not hidden.
But I'm delightful and charming
Yes, you
at
are.
all times. I can also be very aggressive I want to a badass on stage, and that I can pull off when I'm poked in real life. If I'm not poked, I'm very docile and whatever, but if you poke me then I'm good at being a bitch, but that was the thing about sexism is that you had to be careful not to be called a psycho or a bitch.
Yeah.
I forgot that part. Yeah. But now I don't care. I would say the best of me is on stage. Off stage, there's the best of me and then the other parts.
What inspires you on stage?
Oh, people like Brendan Jennings. Brendan clearly surprises himself when he's improvising, but makes it look so effortless and feels so helpless and enjoys it.
Yeah.
And I always found that that freedom is very inspiring. The people who just feel very free and who are like, okay, because I'm a tense person. He is too. He and I are the same. We have so much anxiety and tension, and yet he is just the most yummy bowl of jelly. Like it'll move any direction you want and it's still going to taste great. Now I'm weirding myself out by making him something that you would consume. But yeah, anybody who's just like so open they don't even know what they're going to do, but they're not dangerous.
Yeah. I think of Brendan, and I think of someone, I can't think of anyone who delights in things going awry more than Brendan.
Yes. That's probably the most important thing he taught me because I would be mortified when things didn't go well.
Yeah.
And he would just have this dizzyingly adorable giggle. And I would be
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, why so serious, Soule? Like, what are you doing, Megan? It's like not a big deal. And then he really taught me that. I think you're right. That's a great way to be.
I had the benefit when we were in Chicago, Cook County was still there, Brendan's group.
Oh,
So we got to see them a lot, and just the places it went because of things that other people would call errors, or,
yes.
just took things into a new direction. They didn't stop. They never stopped a scene. It just took them into these places that were so unique and delightful and so much fun to be a part of as an audience member.
That is so cool.
Is there anything that shuts you down or takes you out of it on stage?
A couple of times I was made fun of by a fellow performer for kind of who I am or the way I am instead of the scene, or I don't know. They hurt my feelings. Now, I'm a sensitive person, but on stage, I'm not like a sensitive person. And I can't even remember the detail. I just remember the feeling in my chest of like, oh. And usually it's something that's condemning me in some way. I don't like that. And then there was a time that I had the hole in my shirt, and the host was Clark Canine, I believe, and he was making fun of me with the hole, but didn't tell me I had a hole in my shirt. He just kept having me do things
Uh,
that showed the hole in my shirt, and the whole audience is laughing at me, and I'm like, but I'm not being funny. Am I that cute that all I have to do is put my arms in the air and people love me and laugh and scream and cry? And then I found out what it was, and I was so humiliated, just humiliated,
uh,
because I'm very insecure about my, the way I looked and everything else. So that one got me. And that was one of those boy girl things, I think, where, I let the girl part of me get upset. Now, if that happened to me today, we would go to intermission and I would come out and I would have split the back of my pants on
yeah.
purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and just be like, what? And keep bending over. Like that's how I would do it today, like a performer, but instead I got my personal feelings hurt. So I regret that, but also I was like, that's kind of mean.
Yeah. Is there any advice you would give your younger self?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Have fun. You're fine. You're better than you think. Just relax. All of those things.
Yeah.
Like enjoy yourself. Yeah. Failure is fun. That's
Yeah.
one I, still working on.
Yeah.
If I thought failure were fun, then I could go back to Chicago with my head held high.
I think it's the most beneficial and the hardest lesson to learn, and it's the hardest one to hold on to once you acknowledge, once you wrap your mind around it, it's still the hardest to access.
I'm glad you say that, because sometimes I'm like, how come I can't do that?
Yeah.
And it feels like everybody else knows how.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, I know this, but still, it's like in this moment, it's impossible. So this will be kind of a two-parter, and it might be the same answer, though. Do you have a favorite type of character to play?
I mean, I definitely have my go-tos that I adore. Film noir woman, amazing. The one that's like just really dumb is a lot of fun. And I probably have like 3 or 4 very stereotypical ones that I would morph, and they are just so much fun. Ah, I loved it.
So part 2 then would be, was one of those your Schmepperty character, or did you have any
Oh, God.
go-to for that? Because that was a stalwart of Comedy Warehouse, right?
I hated Schmepperty so much. I fucking hate Schmepperty. I can't say it enough. I can't underline it enough. On the new text, when you text, you can make the letters wiggle for emphasis. Like that's the word fuck is doing that in my head. I hate it so much. And I just could never get the angle. For some reason, it was the only game where I've always felt like, but yes, my Schmepperty character was often a Shirley Temple impression. And Shirley Temple became Shirley Temple Black when she was married. And so I think she was Shirley Pimple Blackhead or something like that. But I used to do it like a Shirley Temple. Oh my goodness. And so the whole thing, it would just be, here, I can do this voice if that's funny,
Yeah.
like, but yeah, I did use that one a lot. But then once you get a thing in your head that I'm not good at this game, then it just takes over. And all they have to say is, and now it's time for Schmeh. And I'm already like, no. Yeah, I would bomb hard. Do you like that game?
We didn't play it much, but I know they did it at Comedy Warehouse. I do like 99 Jokes,
I
World's
love
Worst.
that. Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, I feel like it's in the same part of my brain, but having to filter that through a character is a little different.
Yep. You know what? That's it. That's why I hate the game, I think, is that it's not only you're trying to be clever, but when they're asking you the next question, you're trying to think about being clever as the person that you've said you are, and I get layer upon layer and
Yeah,
it shuts me down. You just made me think about when you were saying what shuts you down. One thing that really shuts me down is when I think that the audience has written me off. They're like, "Ugh, she's terrible. I hate her." When you have like a couple of clunkers in a row and you
yeah.
just feel like, "Oh, they've decided." And Schmepperty was one of those things. I've always been bothered by not pleasing the audience with something, by not making them laugh. So I got better at it the longer I went.
Well, and I think there are some games, and I'd say Jeopardy, Schmepperdy, or whatever it's called, wherever you are, that's one that has a tendency to put you in your head, and it's one that has a tendency to make people think that there's a right and a wrong to it.
You should have been my coach. That would have helped. I couldn't put my finger on it, but that's exactly it. I got so in my head.
Yeah. And there are other games like that too, I think that and that's when, going back to what you said, is when we're up here, we're no longer present.
Hmm.
So how can you really interact and have fun? And that's one of the challenges for me that I like to do in expert scenes or whatever it is. I feel like improv is always about the relationship. So if this is an expert scene, the relationship has to be either it's between the expert and the audience or the expert and the interviewer, or there's something going on there. There's got to be something more than just these witty answers, because I can't live up to that.
That's right.
I've got to have something else. And Jeopardy's a hard one because you've got a host and you've got at least 3 other people up there with you. So it's like, what's the dynamic that you play? How do you play that?
Yeah.
It has a tendency, I think, to just become about being witty.
Well, you're making me think about it because you've got like 4 people there, maybe 5, depending on how you play it. And everyone's busy doing a character and thinking. So actually, no one is. Because when I think about it, maybe the host and one of the players has some sort of relationship
Yeah.
connection, or 2 of the. But yeah, you can't get the flow. There's no flow for me in that game
Yeah.
unless you just happen onto something, something that floats through the game for you. But so many traumatic memories are Yep. It literally gave me, like, chills when you said the word Schmepperty. I
I'm
haven't
sorry.
thought about it in forever, and my chest just got all tight.
I just didn't know if there'd be
Yeah.
Did you ever play the Shirley Temple character in anything else, or was it reserved for that?
No, I did. I was obsessed with her as a child. I thought that I could become the next Shirley Temple. I had no idea how life worked. And so I knew every word to every song. I knew lines from the movies. I could tap dance, the whole thing. So I imitated that for someone. They're like, "Oh my God, you should do that on stage." I'm like, "No, no, nobody's going to know." And they're like, do it. I dare you." And so I did it and it went over really, really well. And then when I was bombing so hard at Schmepperty and Up Your Alley, which was the Comedy Warehouse talk show that they would do. Yeah, it worked for me, but I didn't like to fall on it all the time,
Yeah. Yeah. If you could do a scene with anyone alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. Of course, my mind instantly went to men I find hot who aren't even improvisers. I don't know what that is saying about me at my age.
It
Really?
doesn't have to be an improviser.
I mean, honestly, I keep coming to Brendan Jennings. He was just my favorite to work with. Just my favorite. But if I'm trying to think of someone I never worked with before, I love Harrison Ford, but I think he would be very curmudgeonly. So I'm not going to say him. Jack Black might be a little too much. Robin Williams, I would just be staring at him watching. I don't think I could actually participate in the scene because I'd be in awe. I might just have to be Brendan. God damn it.
You're not the only one that has answered Brendan.
Really?
Yeah, there
Oh.
have been some others as well. So you're in good company.
It might be fun to do like a Tina Fey, Amy Poehler.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
yeah.
They're my kind of girls.
You already mentioned Robin Williams, but if there's anyone who's no longer with us that you could do a scene with, who would it be? And it can be Robin Williams. That's fine. Other people have. There's quite a few have mentioned Robin Williams.
I hear that Jonathan Winters was actually quite a difficult person in some ways.
Oh, really? He was hysterical.
Like he and Robin Williams, I don't know if I'd actually have fun doing a scene with him because I sometimes think it's not that they steamroll, but their mind and their world is working so quickly. I'm not sure I could find a place in it. And I know Carol Burnett is not dead, but the only person who's coming to mind right now is Carol Burnett. Lily Tomlin is also not dead. She's because I'm thinking of ones from my childhood that I've known a long time.
Yeah. Ruth Buzzy just passed away. If you want to snag Ruth.
Oh, Ruth Buzzy. Ruth Buzzy and Betty White.
Oh, Betty White would be tremendous.
Those,
What about fictional? If you could do a scene with any fictional character from any fictional book, movie, TV.
that's hard because I am so in love with two fictional characters that they just would be my answer for anything. If you said, if you could anything with a fictional person, it would be Han Solo or Indiana Jones. So I think Han would be difficult to work with. I think Indy would be like, I don't want to do this. So those aren't really good choices. But you know who? Baby Billy from The Righteous Gemstones. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, Walton Goggins?
Yeah.
Yes, I know who that is.
His character, Baby Billy, delights me to no end. Ah, to no end.
Yeah, I bet Walton would be fun to do a scene with as well.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even think of him. That whole cast, the Edie Patterson and all of them, that would be fun.
What do you find most helpful from the booth?
Someone who has been made to feel so accepted that they are a player, not trying to put things in to be funny or afraid to put things in.
Yeah.
But someone that we really embrace. I want them to feel embraced because they are such a huge bonus factor, important thing. So I know we tend to just like, who's up in the booth? There's there's some of that sometimes. And it must be very hard to be new.
Yeah.
Because it's not just being an improviser on a stage with a bunch of senior improvisers. It's like having to do the lights out, the whole thing. So I want someone who's not afraid to make choices, but isn't just being random.
Yeah.
John Valinas made so many shows. So many of our best moments are like, remember when John did that? So I love a good tech person.
Yeah, they have a lot of power. This might just be the opposite of everything you just said, but what would you say is the least helpful from the booth?
Trying to be funny.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean that in the same way I mean it for any improviser. You are funny. If you're in the flow of the river, it's going to work. But if you're just like, I got to be funny, I have an idea, let me find it, let me put, like, that moment is gone.
Yeah.
Or that moment never got created. Like, don't jam things in. Just be with us. That's what I mean. Like, they need to feel like they're on stage with us.
Yeah.
If they start jamming things in, it's very difficult. Very difficult. Unless they're just doing it to be fun and screw with us, that's fun. But, as a habit, oof.
Other than laughter, what audience sound do you revel in?
Gasping, murmuring and gasping. I liked them being surprised, maybe gently shocked. Not horrified, but shocked.
So were you delighted in the response to the kiss?
No. That was horrified. I like when they're like, oh, and then it's usually followed by a laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Happy chatter. I don't know. I also like it when they start to realize where we're going.
Oh, yeah.
When they start to see a game in a scene or something, they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then that's fun because they're coming with you. I love that too.
So when the kiss happened, the initial gasp was okay, but the rattling of torches and pitchforks being grabbed, that was what pushed it over the line.
Well, there actually were no gasps.
Oh,
It it
it
was
was.
it was like I could hear the pit of their stomach. I could hear their stomachs drop.
Oh no.
And it was like boom. Like there's a certain kind of earthquake that I've experienced out here in LA where it's just a straight down drop is what it feels like.
Oh.
And that is what it felt. It was just like boom. And then it was silent. Really silent. And then there was murmuring, but not like excited murmuring. It was like, I don't know. I don't know. Like it was judgy. It was judgy murmuring.
Yeah.
And then thankfully there's a blackout and you run off stage and sit on the stool where we sat on the sides of this stage. You run and sit and act like you weren't even in that scene, kind of looking over your shoulder like, God, did you see them do that? Like I was not in that scene. I was horrified by that choice they made, just acting like you weren't involved.
What would you say was the best note or words of wisdom you've received?
Well, there are two different ones. One was Claire saying, just bring a brick to the scene, just a brick. And the other was my husband, who still to this day has to say it on the daily, stop caring what people think about you. So those have been very powerful.
Yeah.
Evidently, I'm a very caring person. I care so much about what they think of me, even if they are people that I'm like, I respect every person, but kind of I don't you. And I'm worried that you don't like me. It's
Yeah.
horrible. Horrible. So, yeah, bring a brick only and stop worrying what people think about you.
I think a lot of improvisers are empaths, so I think that's a hurdle for a lot of us is the getting over but the audience but that person, that guy in the front row, whatever it is like, I gotta let it go. It's okay.
I could so teach workshops on that. I am too empathic. It's difficult for
Yeah.
me.
Would you say is the least helpful note you have received, or the least helpful note you could conceive of if you've never really had any that were that terrible?
I don't think I've ever had this, but do it different, right? First of all, I don't like that they didn't use an adverb because I'm a grammar nerd, but it's that thing of like, I didn't like what you did, but I have nothing to offer you to help you move ahead. And then I don't like when you criticize me and don't help me.
Right.
That's hard for me. So, yeah, you should have done. Oh, that's one. Here's one when I'll say, God, I'm sorry. I tried to do a thing and it totally didn't go. And they're like, well, you know what you should have done. I don't like that one. I don't like that one either. Thanks. If only I were you.
Yeah. If there were Academy Awards for everything improv, what would you be nominated for?
That's a hard one because you got to make yourself sound great. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, well, I think I'm pretty charming on stage. Says you, Megan. I'm getting those voices, right?
Well, you're not saying that you'd win. You'd just be nominated.
Oh, I'm just getting nominated? Oh,
Yeah. No pressure.
well, I mean, that's the real honor
Yeah.
is just the nomination. I would say easiest person to work with, although I know a lot of people that would not vote for me for that. See, I can't let myself have anything. Are you hearing this? I think I was easy to work with and best solo improvised song. I loved doing the songs for sure. Were you there when they were doing Slice of Life?
Yes.
Okay. Like they would just throw me the ball usually on those because I just had a knack for those and I really had a lot of fun doing them. And it's kind of low pressure because they give you all the jokes.
Yeah.
You just have to stick them in there. So, yeah, it was fun. I'm an okay singer, but when I was a fan of SAC, Dave Russell, God bless you, Dave, is a horrible singer, but he's so committed.
Yeah.
Everybody like screams and laughs and thinks it's the most amazing thing ever. And that was a real lesson to me because I would have been like, I can't do it. I'm not gonna. But then when I realized you don't actually have to be a good singer, but you have to commit super hard.
Yeah.
So I think that was the only reason I was ever able to open my mouth in the first place, was seeing him be so bad at singing, but so great at improvising, but so bad at singing.
like, I feel like I'm in a much better place with it now, but I feel like part of the issue then, just being a similar type of person, is there are so many really good singers at SAC.
Oh,
And so not being that person, I feel like, oh, it's
right?
going to be a highlighter over the fact that I'm terrible at this.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
stand out. I
Yeah.
know. But I'll tell you, I mean, that's Dave would give 4,000% in his songs, and the audience loved him for it. So it was a highlighter, but his commitment became the highlighter. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
am totally with you on that because I'm not a great singer. I'm great at making songs. I'm not a great singer. But when I would be doing a song cue with someone who could really sing, like if Wayne Brady or something, I'd be like, ah, you know, and then I would suck because I get all in my head about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't do it well, do it hard and funny.
That's right. That's exactly it.
Megan Whyte Soule, if you are remembered 100 years from now for something improv related, what would you want it to be?
I would like to be remembered for building the confidence of the people coming up, other improvisers who were scared and flipped out. I loved to help them. So I would love for that to be the remembered part.
Awesome. And I specifically, Benji mentioned you in being a huge influence in his improv journey and making him the
Wow.
improviser he is. And he's another just powerhouse that is so playful and wonderful. And he remembered taking classes with you and how formative that was for him. So I'd say that, you know, you're already being remembered today for that kind of thing.
Oh,
And I'm sure
thanks.
there are others that know you for that as well.
Thanks for telling me that. Oh, sweet Benji.
Yeah. And that's it for this interview with Megan Whyte Soule. Don't forget to find me on Patreon for bonus content, and thanks for listening to Improv Autopsy.